This is a calm place. Nothing happens here. A peaceful medieval village, moving slowly through an ordinary day. You can relax now. Sleep may come whenever it's ready. Dawn arrives in the valley very slowly. There is no sudden moment that marks the beginning of the day. No loud sound, no urgent movement. Instead, the light changes little by little, as if the night is gently loosening its hold on the land. The sky in the east begins to soften. Deep blue fades into a quieter shade, then into pale gray, and finally into a thin wash of muted gold. The sun is still hidden behind the low hills, but its presence can already be felt. Calm and patient, a light mist rests over the valley. It lies across the fields and meadows like a soft blanket, drifting just above the ground. The mist moves almost imperceptibly, guided by a breeze so gentle it can barely be noticed. Grass bends slightly beneath it. Wildflowers stand still, their colors muted in the early light. At the center of the valley sits a small medieval village. The village has no grand name that needs to be remembered. It is simply a place where people live quietly, day after day, year after year. Stone cottages with wooden beams line narrow paths. Their roofs are covered with dark shingles, damp with morning dew. The village is still asleep. Most windows are dark. Wooden shutters remain closed. Doors stay shut, holding in the warmth of the night before. The air feels cool and clean, carrying the faint scent of earth and grass. In the distance, a single bell sounds. It is not loud. It does not ring with urgency. The bell's tone is low and steady, spreading gently through the valley. One slow chime follows another, evenly spaced, marking the early hour. The sound travels over the fields, across the river, and into the quiet streets of the village. After the bell fades, silence returns. Not an empty silence, but a full one. A silence filled with small, comforting sounds. The rustle of leaves, the soft movement of mist, the distant call of a morning bird. Birdsong begins gradually. At first, it is only one or two voices, tentative and spaced far apart. A bird calls from the edge of the forest. Another answers from a nearby tree. Slowly more join in, weaving a gentle pattern of sound that feels unhurried and familiar. The river at the edge of the village continues its quiet work. Water slips over smooth stones, creating a low, constant murmur. It does not rush. It does not change its pace. It simply flows the same way it did yesterday, and the day before that. As the light grows a little brighter, the shapes of the village become clearer. Stone walls take form. Wooden fences appear along the paths. A small bridge stretches across the river, its planks darkened by years of use. Everything looks solid, settled, and unwind. Thin trails of smoke rise from one or two chimneys. They curl upward slowly, almost lazily, blending into the pale morning sky. Somewhere inside those houses, fires are being stirred. A baker wakes early. A hearth is gently coaxed back to life. Still, the village does not hurry. There is no rush to begin the day. No one feels pressed by time. Morning is allowed to arrive at its own pace, unfolding naturally, without demand. A soft breeze passes through the main path. It carries the scent of damp stone, wood, and fresh grass. The breeze moves along the walls of the houses, brushes past closed doors, and continues onward, as if exploring the village on its own. The sun finally crests the hills. Its light spills gently into the valley, touching the rooftops first, then the paths, then the fields beyond. Shadows stretch long and thin across the ground, calm and unbroken. The village remains peaceful. Nothing unexpected happens. Nothing needs attention. The world feels steady, predictable, and safe. This is how the day begins here. Quietly. Slowly. With no urgency at all. And as the light continues to grow, the village prepares to wake, not suddenly, but softly, carrying the same calm rhythm it has always known. The morning has only just begun. The village begins to awaken. Not all at once, not with noise or urgency. It wakes the way the light arrived earlier, gradually, almost without being noticed. Behind the stone walls of the cottages, people stir quietly. Wooden floors creak softly beneath careful steps. Inside each home, the night gives way to the familiar rhythm of morning. A wooden shutter opens, not quickly, not fully, just enough to let a thin line of pale sunlight slip into a small room. Dust drifts lazily through the beam of light, floating without direction. Another shutter opens somewhere nearby, then another. Each sound is soft. Each movement is unhurried. The village does not wake with a single breath, but with many small ones, spaced far apart. A door opens near the edge of the village. The hinges murmur quietly as the door swings outward. Cool morning air moves inside, carrying the scent of grass and damp stone. A figure steps out, pauses, and takes a slow breath. No words are spoken. There is no need. The morning already understands. From one of the larger stone buildings, the baker begins the day. Inside the bakery, the oven has been warm since before dawn. The fire glows steadily, its heat gentle and constant. Dough rests on wooden tables, shaped and reshaped by hands that know this work well. The baker moves slowly. There is no rush to finish. Bread will be ready when it is ready. The rhythm of kneading, resting, and shaping follows a pattern older than memory. Soon, the scent of fresh bread begins to drift through the narrow streets. It moves softly between the houses, curling around corners, lingering in the cool air. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, warm and familiar. A few villagers step outside their homes. They greet one another with small gestures. A nod of the head, a gentle smile, a quiet acknowledgement that another day has begun. No one raises their voice. The village prefers mornings to remain calm along the stone path that runs through the center of the village. Footsteps appear one by one. Leather saws meet stone, producing a steady, comforting sound. Step. Pause. Step. Each footfall is measured. Each pause is allowed to last. A woman carries a small basket toward the well. The basket rests easily against her side. She walks without hurry, her pace matching the slow movement of the day itself. At the well, water reflects the sky above. The surface is nearly still. When the bucket lowers, the reflection ripples gently, then settles again. The sound of water fills the air for a moment, then fades. Somewhere nearby, a child yawns. The sound is brief and soft, quickly swallowed by the morning air. The child stays close to a parent, holding a hand, moving quietly along the path. Animals wake as well. A horse shifts its weight in a small stable. Chickens move slowly across a patch of dirt, pecking at the ground with calm focus. A cat stretches in a warm spot near a doorway, then settles back down. Nothing startles. Nothing interrupts the gentle flow of time. The sun rises higher now, but its warmth remains mild. Light settles evenly across the village, touching stone walls, wooden beams, and worn door frames. Every surface tells a quiet story of use and care. This village has known many mornings like this one, and it will know many more. From a small window, the sound of water being poured can be heard. A cup is filled. A simple breakfast is prepared. Bread is broken slowly, not torn. Inside each home, the same calm routine unfolds. The same movements, the same pauses, the same unspoken understanding that the day does not need to be rushed. As more villagers step outside, the paths grow slightly busier, but never crowded. People move around one another with ease, giving space, allowing silence. There is comfort in this shared quiet. A soft breeze moves through the village. Again, it lifts loose strands of hair. It stirs the edge of a cloak. It carries the distant sound of the river back toward the center of the village. The bell does not ring again. It has already done its work. Time is now marked by light, by movement, and by familiar routine. The village is awake, but it remains peaceful. Nothing presses forward. Nothing pulls attention away. The day opens gently, like a door left ajar, inviting but never demanding. And as the morning continues, the village settles into its quiet rhythm, steady, calm, and unchanging, ready to carry the listener even deeper into rest. The day has begun. Slowly, comfortably. Just as it always does. The stone path runs through the village like a quiet spine. It begins near the fields, passes between the cottages, and continues toward the river. Its stones are uneven, worn smooth by countless footsteps over many years. Each stone remembers the weight of time. In the early morning light, the path looks soft. Shadows rest in the shallow gaps between stones. Pale sunlight touches the higher edges, creating a gentle contrast that shifts slowly as the sun rises. Footsteps begin to appear. Not many, not all at once, just a few, spaced far apart, arriving without urgency. A man walks along the path, carrying a small bundle of tools. The tools are wrapped in cloth, held close to his side. His steps are steady and familiar, guided more by habit than by thought. Step. Pause. Step. The sound of leather solace against stone is soft and rhythmic. It echoes lightly between the stone walls, then fades. Behind him, the path grows quiet again. Soon, another set of footsteps joins. These are lighter, slower. A woman walks carefully, guiding a child beside her. The child's steps are uneven, sometimes quick, sometimes stopping altogether. When the child pauses, the woman pauses too. There is no hurry. The village allows time for stopping. They pass a row of cottages, where wooden doors remain closed. Curtains stir slightly in open windows. Inside, life is beginning, quietly and unseen. Further along the path, a cart waits. Its wooden wheels are still. The horse stands calmly, head lowered, breathing slow and steady. When the cart begins to move, it does so gently. The wheels turn with a low rolling sound, stone meeting wood in a familiar rhythm. The path accepts the movement it has carried. Heavier loads than this as more villagers step onto the path, it becomes a place of shared motion. People pass one another without words. A nod, a slight turn of the body. Space is given easily. No one rushes ahead. No one lingers too long. The path keeps everyone moving at the same calm pace. Sunlight shifts again. It stretches farther across the stones now, warming their surfaces. The chill of the night lifts slowly, replaced by a mild, steady warmth. A breeze moves down the path. It carries the distant scent of bread from the bakery. It brings with it the faint sound of water from the river. These sensations arrive softly, then drift away. Near the center of the village, the path widens slightly. Here, people pause more often. A basket is adjusted. A cloak is smoothed. A greeting is exchanged with a quiet smile. The sounds remain low. Voices are rarely raised in the morning. The village prefers to let the day unfold gently. The stone path continues past the well. Water glints briefly in the bucket as it is lifted, then disappears again. The rope slides smoothly over wood, making a sound that is almost musical in its repetition. Pull, pause, pull, Each motion follows the last. Predictable and calm, further along. The path narrows again, here. The stones are more uneven. People walk carefully, their bodies adjusting without thought. Years of walking this path have taught them where to step. A cat crosses the stones. Its movement is slow and deliberate. It pauses in a patch of sunlight, sits briefly, then continues on its way. No one disturbs it. The path belongs to everyone. As the morning deepens, footsteps become slightly more frequent, but never overwhelming. The sounds overlap gently, creating a soft pattern of movement and rest. Step, step, pause. The rhythm settles into the air, steady and reassuring. Beyond the village, the path fades into dirt and grass, leading toward the fields. Some villagers follow it outward, their figures growing smaller with distance. Others turn back toward their homes. The path accommodates both directions. Time feels unmeasured here. No one checks the hour. No one feels late. The sun, the light, and the familiar sequence of movement are enough. As shadows shorten, the stone path holds the warmth of the morning. It releases it slowly, evenly, as each footstep presses down and lifts away. This path has seen countless mornings, and it will see countless more. Today is no different. The footsteps continue. Calm. Unhurried. Reliable. And as the village settles fully into the day, the steady rhythm of stone and step carries on, gently guiding the listener deeper into rest, deeper into stillness, and further away from any need to wake. The path remains. The footsteps fade, and the morning moves forward. Quietly. The small market forms naturally, without announcement. It does not open with noise or sudden movement. There is no bell to signal its beginning. Instead, it appears the same way the morning has appeared, slowly, quietly, and without urgency. A few wooden tables are set along the wider part of the stone path. They are simple tables, worn smooth by years of use. Their legs rest firmly on the stones, adjusted carefully so they do not wobble. Nothing is rushed. Each table is placed, checked, and left to stand. Baskets are set down. Cloth is unfolded. Goods are arranged with calm attention. There is no crowd. Only a small number of villagers arrive at first, each moving at their own pace. Some come to sell. Others come simply to look, to walk, to be part of the quiet rhythm of the morning. The market feels more like a gathering than a place of trade. A basket of vegetables rests at one table. Root vegetables still carry a trace of soil. Greens are bundled loosely, their leaves relaxed, not tightly bound. Everything looks fresh, but nothing looks perfect. Nearby, round loaves of bread are placed on a clean cloth. The bread is warm, releasing a soft, comforting scent into the air. Steam rises faintly, then disappears. No one calls out to advertise it. The bread speaks for itself. A villager stops at the table. There is no haggling. No raised voice. Only a quiet exchange of glances, a small nod, and a simple agreement made without words. Coins change hands slowly. They make a soft sound as they touch wood, then cloth. The sound is brief and unremarkable, quickly absorbed by the air around it. Further along, jars of honey catch the light. The sunlight passes through the glass, turning the honey into a deep, gentle gold. The jars remain still, lying neatly beside one another. Bees are nowhere to be seen. Their work is already done. People move between the tables at an unhurried pace. They pause when they wish. They move on when they feel ready. No one feels pressure to decide. Quickly. A conversation begins nearby. It is quiet, made of short sentences and long pauses. Words are exchanged, then silence returns. The conversation does not demand attention. It blends into the background, becoming part of the market's gentle hum. A child walks beside a parent, holding a small piece of bread. The child takes slow bites, stopping often to look around. Crumbs fall onto the stone path and remain there, unnoticed and unimportant. A breeze moves through the market. It lifts the edges of claws on the tables. It carries the mingled scents of bread, vegetables, wood, and morning air. The breeze does not linger. It passes through, then continues on its way. At one corner of the market, a potter has set out a few simple bowls. They are uneven, shaped by hand rather than by any need for perfection. Each bowl sits quietly, waiting. Some are picked up, turned slowly, then set back down. The act of looking is unhurried. The market remains calm. There is movement, but no noise that rises above the rest. Footsteps continue along the stone path, now weaving gently around the tables. The rhythm established earlier does not change. Step. Pause. Step. Sunlight grows stronger, but never harsh. Shadows shorten beneath the tables. The stones beneath them warm gradually, holding the heat without complaint. A villager adjusts a basket. Another straightens a piece of cloth. These small actions repeat themselves across the market, creating a pattern that feels steady and reassuring. Time passes here almost unnoticed. There is no sense of minutes or hours. The market exists in a space where time is measured only by light and movement. As some villagers finish their business, they move on. Others arrive to take their place. the balance remains. Nothing feels crowded. Nothing feels empty. The market does not grow louder as it fills, and it does not feel lonely as it thins. It simply continues, adapting gently to whoever is present. A soft laugh is heard, then fades. The sound does not linger long enough to interrupt the calm. It becomes just another quiet detail, easily absorbed. The river's murmur reaches the market now and then, carried on the breeze. It reminds everyone that the village extends beyond this small gathering. That life continues at the same gentle pace in every direction. Eventually, the market begins to change, not suddenly, not noticeably. Tables are cleared one by one. Goods are packed away slowly. Baskets are lifted, not all at once, but gradually. As each person feels ready to move on, there is no closing moment, no signal. The market simply dissolves back into the village. The stone path remains. The cottages remain. The calm remains. And as the last table is removed and the path opens fully once more, the village continues its day, unchanged by the brief gathering, carrying the same peaceful rhythm forward. The morning moves on, softly, quietly, without asking for attention. The market has passed, leaving behind only warmth, familiarity, and the gentle sense that everything is exactly as it should be. Beyond the edge of the village, the fields open wide. They stretch gently toward the low hills, following the natural shape of the land. There are no sharp lines here, no sudden changes. Everything curves softly, guided by years of wind, rain, and careful tending. The morning light settles over the fields evenly. It does not glare. It does not demand attention. It rests on the soil, on the growing plants, and on the narrow paths that wind between them. A few villagers make their way outward. They walk slowly, leaving the stone path behind and stepping onto packed earth. Their footprints appear briefly, then fade as the soil settles back into place. Work begins quietly. There is no signal to start, no command. Each person knows what needs to be done and moves into it naturally, as if continuing a motion that never truly stopped. Hands reach down to the soil. Fingers press gently into the earth, checking its moisture. Small stones are moved aside. Plants are straightened, not forced, just guided. The rhythm of the work is steady. Bend, pause, straighten. Each movement flows into the next without effort. Wooden tool is lifted. It rises slowly, then returns to the soil with a soft sound. The tool does not strike hard. It meets the earth with familiarity, parting it carefully. Nearby, someone adjusts a bundle of seedlings. They are placed one by one into shallow rows. Each seedling is given space. Each is settled gently, roots covered, soil pressed lightly around them. No one rushes. The fields do not respond well to haste. Breeze passes through the tall grass at the edge of the fields. The grass bends together, then lifts again, moving as a single slow wave. The sound it makes is soft and continuous, blending easily with the quiet work. Birds move between fence posts. They watch for a moment, then hop down to the ground. Their movements are small and quick, but they do not disturb the calm. They are simply part of it. Time feels different here. There is no clear sense of minutes passing. The work follows the light, the warmth of the sun, and the natural pauses of the body. A villager stops to rest. They straighten slowly, stretching their back, looking across the fields. The view is wide and open. Nothing blocks the horizon. After a moment, the work continues, not because it must, but because it feels right to do. SOA cart stands at the edge of one field. Its wheels are still. A sack rests inside, half filled. Each time it is lifted, grain settles with a soft, shifting sound. Pour. Pause. Settle. The sound repeats, gentle and predictable. Sunlight grows warmer. Now. It touches skin lightly, never harsh. Shadows beneath hats and along the ground shorten slowly, almost without being noticed. In the distance, the village remains quiet. Its rooftops are visible beyond the fields, unchanged and steady. Smoke still rises faintly from a few chimneys, thin and pale against the sky. The work continues in small sections, one row at a time, one motion at a time. Nothing is done all at once. Simple meal is shared at the edge of the field. Bread is broken slowly. Water is passed from hand to hand. No one speaks much. The act of eating is calm, unremarkable, and complete. Afterward, the work resumes. The pause blends seamlessly back in the motion. As the sun reaches higher. The pace remains unchanged. The fields do not ask for more effort. They only require consistency, attention, and patience. Each person moves in their own small circle of activity. These circles overlap gently, never colliding, never competing. The land receives the work quietly. It absorbs each step, each touch, each careful movement, holding them without complaint. Eventually, the work begins to slow, not because it is finished, but because the day has reached a natural pause. Tools are set down. Hands are wiped on cloth. The fields are left as they are, balanced and undisturbed. Nothing looks rushed. Nothing feels incomplete. The villagers begin to turn back toward the village, following the same narrow paths through the grass. The fields remain behind, resting under the steady light, ready to receive more gentle work when the time comes. The morning has moved forward. Quietly. Patiently. And the calm rhythm of the day continues, carrying the listener deeper into rest, deeper into stillness, as the village breathes slowly beneath the open sky. Beside the village, the river moves without effort. It does not rush toward anything. It does not hesitate. It simply follows its familiar course, shaped long ago by stone, soil, and time. In the late morning light, the surface of the river appears smooth. Small ripples form where water meets rock, then fade as quickly as they appear. Reflections of the sky drift across the surface, stretching and softening with every gentle movement. The riverbank is quiet. Grass grows thick and relaxed along the edge. A few flat stones rest partly in the water, their surfaces darkened and cool. Moss clings to them patiently, unmoving. A wooden bridge crosses the river at its narrowest point. Its planks are worn smooth by years of passage. When a breeze moves beneath the bridge, the wood gives a soft, familiar sound, like a slow breath. Water slips beneath the bridge. It flows around the supporting beams, creating a low, continuous murmur. The sound does not change. It does not demand attention. It remains steady, predictable, and calming. A villager approaches the river with a small bundle of cloth. The bundle is set down carefully on a flat stone. Sleeves are rolled up slowly. Hands dip into the water, feeling its coolness before beginning. Cloth is lifted, lowered, pressed gently against the stone. The motion repeats. Lift, lower, press. Each movement follows the same quiet pattern, unbroken and unhurried. Nearby, a bucket rests at the edge of the bank. When it is lowered into the river, the surface opens briefly, then closes again. Water fills the bucket with a soft, hollow sound. As it is lifted, droplets fall back into the river, creating small circles that expand and disappear. The circles fade. The surface becomes smooth once more. Sunlight dances lightly on the water. It breaks into small flashes, never bright enough to startle. The light moves constantly, but slowly, guided by the gentle flow beneath it. A bird stands at the water's edge. It remains still for a long moment, watching. Then it steps forward, placing its feet carefully. After a pause, it lifts into the air, leaving only a brief disturbance on the surface below. The river absorbs the movement. It returns to calm. Immediately. Further downstream, weeds sway together. They bend slightly as the water passes, then straighten again. Their movement is quiet and synchronized, like a slow, shared breath. The air near the river feels cooler. It carries the scent of clean water and damp earth. The breeze here moves gently, following the curve of the bank, before drifting back toward the village. The sounds of the village reach the river only faintly. A distant footstep, a soft voice. Then silence again. The river does not respond. It continues its steady flow, unconcerned and unchanged. Time stretches along the water. Moments pass without clear edges. There is no need to mark them. The river has seen countless hours like this one, and it treats each the same. A villager finishes their task. Cloth is folded slowly. Hands are rinsed once more. The bundle is lifted and carried away without hurry. The river remains. Unbothered. Unaltered. The bridge casts a longer shadow. Now. It reaches across the water, darkening the surface beneath it. The shadow moves gradually as the sun shifts, changing shape without breaking. Water continues to move beneath it. Soft. Even. Reliable. As the morning drifts toward midday, the river holds its calm. It does not change pace. It does not grow louder. It simply flows, carrying the quiet rhythm of the village along its path. For anyone who pauses beside it, the river offers the same gentle message it always has. There is no need to hurry. There is no need to hold on. Everything moves forward on its own, and as the water slips past stone and root, the steady sound continues, inviting the listener to drift deeper into rest, deeper into stillness, carried gently by the calm flow of the day. As midday approaches, the village turns inward. The open spaces of fields and riverbanks give way to stone walls and wooden doors. Movement slows even further, guided by the natural pause that arrives with the height of the day. Inside a stone house, the air feels cool and steady. The walls are thick, holding back the warmth of the sun. Light enters through a small window, forming a quiet rectangle on the floor. Dust drifts through the beam, floating slowly before settling again. A simple table stands near the center of the room. Its surface is worn smooth, marked by years of use. Nothing on it is arranged with care for appearance. Everything rests where it belongs. A pot simmers gently over a low fire. There is no sharp bubbling, only a soft, occasional sound as the liquid moves. Steam rises slowly, then fades into the air above. Bread is placed on the table. It is broken by hand, not cut. Each piece is separated carefully, without hurry. Crumbs fall softly and remain where they land. A bowl is filled. The sound of liquid touching the sides is quiet and reassuring. The bowl is set down without a clatter, guided by a steady hand. People gather around the table. They sit slowly, one by one. Chairs scrape lightly against the stone floor, then become still. No one speaks at first. The room holds a comfortable silence. It is the kind of silence that does not need to be filled. The fire crackles softly. The pot continues its gentle simmer. Eating begins. Spoons move from bowl to mouth and back again. The motion repeats calmly, evenly, without thought. Lift. Pause. Each movement follows the same rhythm. Someone takes a sip of water. The cup is lifted slowly. The water cools the air briefly as it moves. The cup returns to the table with a soft sound. Light shifts across the room. The bright rectangle on the floor moves almost imperceptibly as the sun continues its path. Shadows soften along the walls. A quiet breath is taken. Then another. The room seems to breathe, along with those inside it. No. One eats quickly. There is no reason to finish before a certain time. The meal lasts exactly as long as it needs to. Outside, the village grows even quieter. Footsteps fade. Doors close gently. The sounds of the morning settle into stillness. Inside the stone house, the warmth of the meal spreads slowly. Not heavy, not tiring, just enough to encourage rest. When the bowls are empty, they remain on the table. There is no rush to clear them away. The pause after eating is as important as the meal itself. Someone leans back slightly. Another rests their hands on the table, fingers relaxed. Eyes lower, then close briefly. The fire continues to glow. Its light flickers softly against the stone walls. Steady and predictable. Eventually, small movements return. A bowl is lifted and set aside. A cloth is folded slowly. The table is cleared with the same calm rhythm as it was filled. The room remains peaceful. Nothing has changed. Nothing needs to as the meal comes to its natural end. The house holds onto its quiet warmth. The day pauses here, resting comfortably before moving on. And for anyone listening, the gentle sounds of the room, the soft fire, the slow movements, the steady breathing offer a safe, enclosed stillness, a moment to rest, a moment to drift, a moment where time feels unimportant. The midday passes softly inside the stone house, carrying the calm of the village deeper into this afternoon. The afternoon arrives without announcement. There is no clear moment when midday ends and afternoon begins. The change is gradual, marked only by the way the light softens and the air grows warmer, then settles again. The village rests. Doors remain closed. Windows stay partly open, just enough to let air move slowly through stone rooms. Curtains shift almost imperceptibly. responding to the faintest breeze. Outside, the paths are nearly empty. The stone path that carried so many footsteps in the morning now lies quiet. Sunlight rests across it evenly, filling the spaces between the stones. Shadows are short and gentle, barely noticeable. The air feels thick with stillness, not heavy, just calm. A breeze passes through the village, then disappears. Leaves on a nearby tree move together for a moment, then become still again. The sound is brief and soft, fading as quickly as it arrived. Somewhere, a shutter creaks. The sound is slow and familiar, part of the village's long memory. After it fades, silence returns. Inside many homes, people rest. Some sit quietly near a wall warmed by the sun. Others lie back on simple benches or beds, eyes closed, breathing slow, and even no one speaks. Words feel unnecessary in the afternoon. Time stretches. Moments blend into one another without clear edges. There is no reason to count them. Outside the village, the fields stand unchanged. Plants hold their shape beneath the steady light. Nothing moves unless the air touches it. At the edge of the village, the river continues its gentle flow. Its sound reaches the houses only faintly, a distant reminder that movement still exists somewhere. The afternoon sun shifts slightly. Light slides along stone walls and wooden beams. The brightness softens, turning warm and muted. A cat sleeps in a patch of shade. Its body rises and falls with each slow breath. One ear twitches briefly, then becomes still again. In the quiet air, even small sounds stand out. A distant bird called. The soft settling of wood as a house. Warms. Then silence once more. The village accepts the stillness. There is no effort to change it. No task waiting to be done immediately. Afternoon exists simply to be passed through. Inside a stone room, light shifts again. The bright shape on the floor moves closer to the wall. Dust continues to drift lazily, untroubled by time. Breathing remains slow. Steady. Unforced. The air itself feels relaxed. It moves only when invited, slipping gently through open windows and doors, then settling again. Nothing calls for attention. Nothing pulls the mind outward. The village rests in a shared pause. As the afternoon continues, the quiet deepens. Not into emptiness, but into comfort. A chaos deepens. Not into emptiness. Into emptiness, but into comfort. A kind intense sense that everything is exactly where it should be. And for anyone listening, the still afternoon offers permission to remain at rest. To let thoughts drift. To let awareness soften. To stay suspended in this calm moment, where nothing happens and nothing needs to. The quiet air holds. The village remains, and the afternoon passes, slowly and gently, carrying the listener onward without effort. As the afternoon continues, quiet work resumes in sheltered places. Not the kind of work that demands effort or speed, but the kind that follows memory and habit. Work shaped by years of repetition, carried out slowly, almost without conscious thought. Inside small workshops, the air is cool and steady. Light enters through narrow windows, falling in thin lines across wooden benches and stone floors. The brightness is gentle, softened by dust and time. A craftsman sits at a low table, His hands rest on the wood before him. The surface is smooth, shaped carefully over many days. He pauses for a moment, feeling the grain beneath his fingers. Then the work begins again. A tool is lifted, not quickly, just enough to continue. The tool meets the wood with a soft, controlled sound. There is no force behind it. Only guidance. Press. Release. The motion repeats, steady and predictable. Across the room, another pair of hands moves thread through fabric. The needle passes in and out, creating small, even stitches. The thread tightens gently, then rests. Each stitch follows the last, forming a quiet line of progress. In another workshop nearby, metal cools on a stone surface. Earlier, it was warmed just enough to be shaped. Now it rests, giving off no sound at all. A hammer lies beside it, unused for the moment. The stillness between movements is as important as the movement itself. Time stretches inside these rooms. There is no clock marking the hours. The craftspeople work until it feels right to stop, then pause until it feels right to begin again. Outside, the village remains hushed. The sounds from the workshops do not travel far. They stay contained, absorbed by thick walls and open air. Tap. Pause. Tap. The sound blends into the background, becoming part of the afternoon's quiet rhythm. Light shifts slowly across the work surfaces. A bright edge moves from one corner of the table to another. Shadows lengthen slightly, then settle. Hands continue their slow work. They have done this before. They will do it again. There is no need to hurry. A craftsman stops to adjust his position. He stretches his fingers gently, then rests them again on the wood. The pause lasts longer than the movement that follows. In the seamstress's room, fabric is folded carefully. The work does not aim for perfection. It aims for balance. Each fold lies where it naturally falls. Breathing remains slow. Even. UNFORCED. The workshops feel protected from time. The outside world does not press in. The afternoon light is allowed to come and go as it pleases. A tool is set. Down. Another is picked up. The sequence continues without variation. Press. Pause. Release. The rhythm settles into the listener's awareness, then drifts beneath it, becoming almost invisible. Somewhere, wood shavings fall softly to the floor. They land without sound, forming a small, pale pile that will be swept away later. Without concern. The craftspeople work in silence. Words would only interrupt the flow. Outside the windows, the afternoon begins its slow transition. The light grows warmer. Shadows deepen slightly. The air cools by degrees too small to notice. Inside, nothing changes. The same motions continue. The same calm focus remains. Eventually, the work reaches a natural stopping point, not because it is finished, but because the hands feel ready to rest. Tools are placed back where they belong. Materials are covered. Chairs are pushed back. Gently. The workshops fall quiet once more. They hold the memory of movement without needing to repeat it. Immediately, the craftspeople step outside slowly, blinking in the softened light. They do not rush away. The afternoon has done its work as well. Time has passed. Quietly. Evenly. And the slow hands of the village have guided it forward, leaving behind a deep sense of calm that continues to carry the listener steady and undisturbed. Toward the evening ahead. The evening begins in the softest possible way. There is no clear signal that afternoon has ended. No sound marks the change. Instead, the light itself begins to withdraw, slowly and patiently, as if it knows there is no need to hurry. Across the village, colors soften. Stone walls that once held bright warmth now appear muted and calm. Wooden beams deepen in tone, absorbing the fading light rather than reflecting it. The sky shifts. Almost without notice, blue becomes pale. Pale becomes warm. Warm becomes quiet. Clouds stretch thin across the horizon, barely moving, barely changing shape. Along the village paths, a few slow movements return, not many. Just enough to show that the day is gently closing itself. A door opens. Someone steps outside, pauses, then closes it again with care. The sound is soft, familiar, and quickly fades into stillness. Lanterns are prepared. Not yet lit, simply placed where they will soon be needed. Hands move with memory guiding them, not thought. A wick is checked. Oil is adjusted. Everything is done slowly. Without urgency, the air cools slightly. It is not cold, just comfortable. Breathing feels easier as the warmth of the day releases its hold. Along the edge of the village, the fields rest. Their work is finished for the day. Tall grasses sway once, then settle. The earth holds on to the last of the sunlight. The river reflects the changing sky. Its surface darkens gradually, carrying long stretches of color downstream. The sound of the water remains unchanged, steady and reassuring. Inside the houses, shadows grow longer. They stretch across floors and climb slowly up the walls. Corners soften. Shapes lose their sharp edges. A fire is stirred gently, not to make it burn brighter, only to keep it alive. Embers shift. A quiet glow returns. The fire breathes slowly, matching the rhythm of the room. Evening meals are simple, prepared with the same care as the midday meal, but eaten more quietly. Bowls are filled. Bread is shared. Movements are unhurried. There is little conversation. Voices, if they appear at all, remain low and calm. Words are chosen slowly, then allowed to fade. Outside, the first lantern is lit. Its flame flickers once, then steadies. A small circle of warm light forms, pushing back the gathering shadows without effort. Soon, another lantern glows, then another. They do not brighten the village, they soften it. The sky continues its slow darkening. Colors drain gently, leaving behind deep blues and quiet grays. Stars do not rush to appear. They wait. A bench is pulled closer to a wall. Someone sits, rests their hands in their lap, and looks outward without focusing on anything in particular. Breathing slows. The pace of the village slows with it. Animals settle for the night. Birdsong fades. Insects begin their soft, steady rhythms, barely noticeable. Easily ignored. Windows glow faintly. Light behind glass flickers and dims, never harsh, never sharp. The evening holds the village. Gently. Nothing is demanded. Nothing is expected. The day releases its final moments without resistance. For anyone listening, this is a time of gentle descent. A moment when the world becomes smaller. Quieter. Safer. Thoughts lose their edges. Awareness softens. The fading light carries everything downward, slowly and smoothly, preparing the village and the listener for the deep calm of night that is soon to follow. The evening continues unrushed, unbroken, and perfectly content to let the darkness arrive. In its own time, night arrives gently, not all at once, it settles into the village the way a blanket settles over a resting body, slowly, evenly, without weight. The sky deepens. Blue turns to indigo. Indigo softens into darkness. The last traces of color fade without resistance. Across the village, lanterns glow steadily. Their light does not reach far. It does not try to. Each flame creates its own small circle of warmth, content to remain where it is. Stone walls reflect the light softly. Edges, blurred. Shadows overlap. Nothing appears sharp or demanding. Inside the houses, quiet fires burn. Not large. Not bright. Just enough to keep the night gentle. Embers rest beneath thin layers of ash. Occasionally, a soft crackle rises, then disappears again. The sound is familiar. Comforting. Predictable. People move slowly through their evening routines. A cloak is placed on a hook. Shoes are set neatly beside a door. Bench is pulled closer to the fire, then left untouched. Each action is deliberate and calm. Nothing is rushed. Breathing deepens inside the houses. Conversations, if they happen at all, are brief and quiet. Voices remain low, never rising above the soft presence of the fire. Soon, even these sounds fade. Doors close gently. Wood meets wood without a sharp sound. The village turns inward once more. Outside, the paths are empty. Lantern light stretches across stone, then fades into darkness. The spaces between the lights feel calm rather than empty. Above, the sky holds steady. Stars appear slowly, one by one, as if placed with care. They do not shimmer brightly. They simply remain. A thin cloud passes, then moves on. The night air cools. It is crisp, but not cold. Each breath feels clean and unhurried. At the edge of the village, the fields disappear into shadow. They rest completely now, invisible but present, holding the quiet work of the day within them. The river continues to flow. Its sound is softer at night, more distant. A low, steady movement that blends easily with the darkness. Inside a stone house, someone sits near the fire. They do not stare into the flames. Their gaze rests somewhere beyond it, unfocused. Relaxed. Hands rest loosely, shoulders lower. The body recognizes the safety of the moment. Log shifts slightly. The fire responds with a brief glow, then settles again. Light flickers across the walls. Slow and rhythmic. The room breathes. One breath, then another. Time loses its shape. Minutes pass without being counted. The night does not demand awareness. Eventually, movement slows further. Someone rises from the bench. Not abruptly, just enough to prepare for rest. The fire is tended carefully, not extinguished. Only guided. Ash is adjusted. The glow softens. The flame lowers itself naturally. Beds wait quietly. Simple frames, soft coverings, nothing elaborate. Everything familiar. A candle is blown out. The darkness deepens. But it does not feel empty. The remaining firelight continues to guard the room. Outside, the village is nearly still. Lanterns dim. Some are extinguished completely. Others remain, offering a gentle presence for anyone who might wake. Briefly in the night. The night holds Dot. It does not press, that it does not hurry, that it simply exists. Wide and calm. For anyone listening, this is the deepest quiet. A place where the mind no longer needs to follow images or sounds. Where awareness can loosen its grip. The quiet fires burn on. The village sleeps. And the night continues. Steady and protective, carrying everything softly, safely, through the dark hours ahead. Deep night settles fully over the village, not as a change, but as a continuation. What began as evening and softened into night now becomes something quieter still, something without edges or direction. The sky holds its darkness evenly. Stars remain where they are, steady and unmoving. Clouds drift slowly, barely noticeable, dissolving as they pass. The village is asleep. Not suddenly, not dramatically. Simply and completely. Houses rest beneath the night like stones at the bottom of a river. Their shapes are known. Even when unseen. No windows glow now. Lanterns have been extinguished. Only the faintest embers remain in a few hearths. Breathing slowly beneath ash. Inside the homes. Breathing fills the space. Slow. Even. Unconscious. The quiet is layered. Beneath it lies the soft sound of the river, distant and continuous. Beneath that, the almost imperceptible sounds of wood settling and stone cooling. Nothing rises above. The rest. Everything blends. Outside. The paths are empty. No footsteps. Past. No doors open. The stones hold the memory of the day without, releasing it. The air is cool and stable. It does not move unless invited. When it does, it slides gently between buildings, then becomes still again. Trees stand without motion. Leaves do not stir. Branches rest exactly where they have always rested. At the edge of the village. The fields disappear entirely. They are no longer visible, only felt, wide, open, and quiet. The river continues its path through darkness. Its surface cannot be seen, but its presence remains constant. Water moves as it always has, unconcerned with time or light. Inside a stone house, sleep deepens. A body shifts slightly, then settles again. The movement is brief and unimportant. Breathing resumes its steady rhythm. In another home. A fire releases its last warmth. An ember glows faintly, then dims. Ash collapses inward. Silent and soft. The night absorbs the change without reaction. There is no sense of passing. Hours. Time no longer moves forward. It simply exists. Thoughts do not form here. Images fade before they can take shape. Awareness loosens its hold completely. Village does not need attention. It is safe. It is settled. It has done everything it needs to do. Deep night holds everything gently. Walls. Roofs. Sweeping. Bodies. Quiet fires. Flowing water. Nothing is separate. Everything belongs. A distant sound passes through the dark. Perhaps an owl. Perhaps the wind. It does not matter. The sound fades quickly, leaving no trace behind. Stillness returns. Immediately, the night remains undisturbed. The village breathes as business. 1. In out. Slowly. The darkness feels complete, but not heavy. There is no pressure. No need to be alert. No reason to wake. For anyone listening, this is the quiet center of the night, a place where the mind can release even the idea of listening, where sound becomes texture. Where words dissolve into rhythm. The sleeping village continues to rest. Held securely within the deep night. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to. The hours pass, unnoticed. The darkness remains kind. And the village sleeps on, steady and untouched, carrying the listener effortlessly through the longest, calmest part of the night. Somewhere beyond the sleeping village, the night begins to thin. Not enough to be noticed, not enough to change anything, just enough to suggest that time continues. Quietly and without effort, the darkness loosens its hold by the smallest degree. The sky remains dark, but no longer feels endless. Its depth softens, almost imperceptibly. The village does not stir. Houses remain still. Roofs hold their shape against the sky. Stones rest exactly where they have rested all night. Inside, sleep continues undisturbed. Breathing remains slow. Deep, unaware. No. One senses the change. No sound announces it. The river flows as it always has. Its movement is unchanged, steady and low. The water carries reflections that cannot yet be seen. Fields beyond the village remain hidden. They wait without expectation. Trees stand quietly, their branches relaxed, their leaves unmoving. The air feels slightly lighter, not cooler, not warmer. Just open. A single bird shifts on a branch. It does not call. It simply settles again. Content to remain still. Sky begins its slow return. Dark blue softens into something gentler. Not light, just less dark. There is no horizon, yet no color to follow. Only the suggestion that the night will eventually release its hold. The village remains asleep. The deep rest of the night continues. To protect it. Nothing pulls awareness back. Nothing invites waking. Moment passes without importance. And that is exactly as it should be. Time moves forward without being felt. The first hint of dawn does not arrive to begin the day. It arrives only to remind the world that rest can be gentle, continuous, and safe. For anyone listening, there is no need to follow the light. No need to prepare. No need to return. Sleep may continue without interruption. The village will wake later. Slowly. Naturally. When the time is right. For now, everything remains calm. The night fades softly at the edges. The peace remains. And the story, like the village itself, comes to rest. Complete, unbroken, and perfectly still.